Hey, this is Soomin Kim, your real estate ninja, and one of the questions I get asked more than anything, and often, and you might be one of them, is the equipment that I use to do my self-home tours. Well, today I'm going to be going through every single piece of equipment that I use to film my home videos and give you guys a little bit of insight of kind of my philosophy behind the things that I use and the reasons that I use them. As you know, and if you might have heard me say before, that the minimal setup is the most important for me. So let me give you the reasoning behind that. For me, I'm looking to be a transactional real estate agent. In other words, I'm here to sell homes, right? And so ultimately, content creation is a part of what I do. In fact, if you've seen my video, a lot of the content that you see there is, I don't actually plan my day to shoot those. I happen to shoot that content in between appointments with actual clients, or if I happen to be in a certain area, or even to a point where if someone cancels and I'm already in an area, and then I will spend that time in that area getting content for something that I wanted, and I might as well since I'm in the area. Being as minimal as possible is the most important aspect of what I do. Now, I knew that the moment I started this journey with content creation of filming homes, I knew that if it was more complicated, it would discourage me for even getting started in the first place, or always give me a reason not to do it. So if I had a camera crew, if I had to bring someone along with me, if I had to lug around a big DSLR camera and this big body strap, stabilizer, I knew that all of that would hinder me and give me an excuse not to do it. And so I wanted to put myself in a position to always be lock and loaded and be ready to film whenever I'm inspired to do so. So I'm certainly impressed by all the various different artists, the different quality of production, the different edits, the music that I've seen out there with homes. I really am. I think it's incredibly entertaining. I'm entertained by it, and I certainly applaud all the different styles that are out there. My specific style comes from the philosophy of the same feeling you get when you walk into a store. Sometimes when I walk into a store, whether it be a department store, an Apple store, clothing store, electronics, whatever, sometimes I just want to be left alone. Often sometimes you have a salesperson that comes up to you, hey, can I show you something? Do you have any questions? Can I show you this? And most of the time my response has always been, I would just like to look around on my own, if that's okay. And should I need you, I'll call upon you. Now that might not be the case for everyone. Some of you might want to be serviced initially from the beginning and be informed by everything that you see. But that is just not my style and how I shot my videos. So when you see my home tours, everything that you see is one take for the most part, and it's from the perspective of what it would feel like if you walked into a home yourself and just looked around yourself. There's no quick edits, there's no zooming. For the most part, there's no fade to blacks and different edits with sound. I'm not necessarily here to entertain. I'm here to give my audience the perspective of what it would feel like to walk through this on their own. So with that being said, let's get on and give you a complete rundown of the minimal items that I use to create my content. So with that being said, what we're going to do is let's take an in-depth look, step by step, item by item of all the things that I use. And here's what you're going to probably say to yourself after this. That's pretty simple. Exactly. Number one, an iPhone. This is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I have not been inspired to upgrade this yet, specifically because they haven't made too many upgrades or changes at this moment to the camera. So as a minimum, I think what's important if you're considering using a smartphone is you just want to make sure you have the most up-to-date one that has at least a wide-angle lens. And when you shoot homes, especially the way I do, I want to create not too stretch, but the 0.5 wide angle is the option that I'm using from a horizontal perspective. So as simple as it gets, I use an iPhone to film all of my home videos. Now, have I considered getting into a Canon, a bigger body, a DSLR, a mirrorless, all those options I've looked into. But once again, I find myself going back to the philosophy is, will this encourage me to go make content or will it discourage me to make content? And that's what I've always struggled with. And I always want to err on the side of, I want to keep it simple and I want to keep it quick and easy to do. and I can do it in between appointments. And so I found that the iPhone is the easiest for me to utilize. The actual video footage doesn't take up as much memory as, let's say, a bigger camera that has higher quality, but the quality happens to be enough for the content that I'm putting out there. I'm not looking to put this on Times Square. I'm not looking to make massive billboards. I'm just trying to upload this to a social media platform or a YouTube platform that's going to be enough quality, and the iPhone works for me. It's light and it's simple, and there's a lot of simple gadgets that you can get for it that's going to make your job a little bit easier. Let's look at some of those that I use. All right, number 2, let's talk about what items that are used to hold up the iPhone, right? Some people call this a stabilizer or a handle. We even already have a brand name of it called the gimbal. And so I want to talk a little bit about what I use now and what I started with. So the first item that I utilized was this simple handle right here. I did not want to hold the camera like this the entire time. I wanted an opportunity to just kind of have a handle where I can hold it and shoot. And this was a really simple item, right? As you can see here, you can clip it right in there just like this. And now instead of holding it with 2 hands, I can hold it with one, and I can just shoot it like that. So I'll put the link for this one and below and give you an idea of what this is. However, here's the con of this. This does not have a stabilizing attribute to it. So when you use this, and you've seen some of my first videos, if you're not versed or experienced, or have you gotten good at really staying still, keeping your body and your shoulders still while filming, you're gonna see a lot of shakeage. It's gonna shake a ton, okay? And so ultimately, I had moved on to this, and I moved on to this item. All right, so the next item I wanna show you is the Osmo III gimbal. Now, what they call this is, it's more of a stabilizer, and there's more access points for the items, the shot to be stabilized when you're using it. Now, I use this for a few home videos, but because I started with so much control on the handle, I found this a little bit cumbersome. It would not respond to where I needed it to respond to as quickly as it did. Now, if you start with a gimbal or a stabilizer like this, then you're gonna be much more versed and you're gonna get used to it. And I think it's a great attribute because the image stands to stand much more stable. For me, I was so used to having so much control on where I wanted to go, this became a little bit problematic. It wouldn't respond to me as quickly as where I wanted to look. But I think that it's great if you're starting off because it does stabilize the image. And I got a lot of comments on my initial videos where people felt like they were getting sick because I was moving around too much. So a gimbal, the Osmo, is a great starting point for those of you that want immediate stabilization in your videos. Now, the item that I'm actually using now is actually a great hybrid or a balance between those two. That first handle that I was using, it was too shaky, and I wasn't good at filming yet, right? And so a lot of people felt like it was too shaky, moving around too much. The gimbal or the Osmo III wouldn't respond to as quickly as I would like it to, so that was a little bit problematic for me. So I found this currently as my most happy medium spot, and this is by the same company that made the handle. It's a little more sturdy, but it's a 2-handle image holder or a phone holder for me to film. So now it gives me a little more stabilization because I'm using 2 hands now and instead of 1. And so now I can really get my shoulders and my body into what I'm using. Now you're gonna wanna get better at it, and you're gonna wanna get better at shooting the more you do it. But now I have a little bit more control where I'm not shaking around with 1 hand. I have 2 hands I'm controlling. I use a lot of my waist. I use a lot of my shoulders and not my arms. And I actually stabilize turns myself now. As opposed to just doing this as I did when I started beginning. Now I have an idea that I'm kind of stabilizing with my arms. Because the wide angle lens, I can get more of the home. I can aim up a little bit, but I'm using a lot of my shoulders and a lot of my waist and not just my head and arms, right? So I'm actually trying to become a better pseudo stabilizer myself. And this has been my item of usage as of right now. Again, if you're beginning, I would certainly recommend that you go straight to a multi-axis stabilizer or a gimbal. But if you're like me and you want more control, these are the items that I use. All right, number 3, the microphone. People have always asked me, what mic do you use, Soomin? Well, as you know in most of my videos, I am doing everything solo. One of the things that I've always told myself was back to the philosophy of being minimalistic. So if I always needed a videographer to go with me to schedule these home tours, I knew that it would be another reason for me not to do them. So in the beginning, I said I need the most lean equipment, which is an iPhone. I need the most simple holder, handle, or stabilizer, which is what I'm using. And then when I thought of a microphone, I needed the most simple one that I can use. I avoided wireless mics because I've had a history with them where I wasn't sure if it was recording, the Bluetooth didn't connect, and I just didn't have the wherewithal to be able to test that on every time I would film. So I said, what is more simple than just getting a microphone that plugs right into the iPhone? And I did that here. I plug it in right here. I already have one in, but for the purpose of showing you this, I clip it in right there, and this is what I do. I film just like this when I do my selfie intros. And the beautiful thing is, if you can see the cord, it actually kind of drops here, so you don't really see it. When you see my selfie intros, you don't see that there's a mic or a cord that's connected. It just kind of roots below, comes up there, and it makes a perfect opportunity for me to film a quick selfie, a quick intro to my YouTube videos, and I know it's connected. I know there's no Bluetooth issue. I know there's nothing that I have to worry about if the battery had died on the actual, the signal. I just know it's exactly connected to the iPhone, and I shoot it just like that. Amateur? Probably. Is it effective? Absolutely, okay? So I use this cord and mic. I'll put all these items in the description below for you to take a look at. Now I want to continue off of number 3 and show you a different mic. This is a 2 microphone interview set mic. Now I actually haven't used this yet, but when I started my YouTube journey, I found myself in a place where I thought maybe I'm going to do interviews. Maybe I'll do interviews with builders, other colleagues, different people of value. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to take my mic off and put it in their face and then bring it back to me. I said I might need one that has like 2 actual microphones. So this is one I haven't used yet, but it's actually a plug-in lavalier mic, and there's 2 cords to it, so I can have one, the person I'm interviewing has one, and one input into the iPhone. So this is something I will hopefully use for the future, but for now I haven't found myself to bring anyone to interview yet, but that's coming, and so here's the mic I'll probably use. All right, so there you have it. Yes, that's it. iPhone, a holder, a corded mic, that's all I do. And I want you to understand the philosophy behind it, because one of the biggest obstacles that you're gonna need to overcome in moving on and growing your YouTube channel and growing your home tours and utilizing this method is that you need to make it as simple as possible. You need to make it as minimal so you can be as distraction and excuse-free to get it done. That's at least my philosophy. If you are looking for higher production value, bless you, go for it. I'm inspired by that and I love it. For me, this is the philosophy of what I do, why I do it, and it's actually gotten me the results that I needed without having to become a production coordinator / Hollywood producer / professional photographer / HDTV specialist and host. It's a very minimal way for me to get what I need to get done. Now I do want to say this, there are so many nuances to the strategy that I use to build the content for my channel. Now I realize in a video like this, I'm not going to be able to go through all the nuances and obstacles, but I am building a team. I'm building a team of realtors that are looking to grow their business in the same way that I have. And those of you that are on there and those of you that are choosing to work with me, I'll certainly coach you. I'll be a mentor to you through the entire process, through all the nuances and the follow-throughs and the obstacle overcoming and all the different variables that come with building a channel and building your business this way. I look forward to working with you. And if those of you that are just on here looking for more value and insight on how I do it, stay on board. I'm gonna continue to put out more content and I'm gonna give you everything that I'm doing and the way I'm doing it so that it might benefit you and your business. With that being said, I will see all of you on the next video.